And I said, if they don't shut that dog up, then I'm going to have to go, oh, hello, everybody. It's Friday. It's midday, which means one thing and one thing only. It's time for another Wow Ergonomics with myself, Graham Cove, and Stephen. How are you?
Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm very well. How about you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Apart from that dog, the next door neighbours have bought a puppy.
Okay.
I'd like some advice from anybody out there that knows about these things. Bought a puppy, and they're just leaving him alone all day long.
Okay.
And he's getting agitated, and I don't know. I just don't think that's very fair on the dog.
I mean, is there a protocol, having never owned a dog, is there a protocol for how you look after a puppy, as it were? Is there a rule book that you should be following, and they're not?
Well, I just feel like, you know, locking your dog in a room or a place all day long, and you know, when they're clearly then distressed, is seemingly unfair. If anyone's got any guidance on any of that, ergonomic or otherwise, I'd absolutely love to know. We will bring our special guest in because we have a special guest. So let's do that. I'm going to hide this, which I've just managed to do, and I'm going to say hello to Louise. Hello, Louise.
Hello, Graham. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Louise.
Nice to meet you. Now, Louise, it's, dare I say it, Black Friday today. So it's, you know, it's one of those days just before sort of Cyber Monday. Is it Cyber Monday that we have starting on Monday?
Yeah.
But today is one of those days where a lot of people start thinking about tech, etc. And we're going to talk to you in a minute about websites, etc. But is there anything that has caught your eye on Black Friday, or do you just think it's all a waste of time?
Personally, I think it's a waste of time, because I think that in the weeks running up to Black Friday, a lot of places put their prices up, and then come Black Friday, they put them down, and you think it's a sale.
So they put them up to bring them down, basically. Yeah.
But there's a toaster. We need a new toaster, and there's a toaster that's caught my husband's eye. So we might be getting a polka dot pastel-coloured toaster. I'm not sure.
When you say it's caught his eye, I mean, I think that would catch anybody's eye. Maybe not in the right way. But what is it? What is it?
Yeah.
Is your kitchen ready for a polka dot pastel-coloured toaster, or do you now have to redecorate the whole kitchen in order to make
the whole polka dot kitchen now? It's going to be gross. It's going to be absolutely disgusting.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That actually kind of reminds me of a post that I did not so long ago about, you know, when you first join a business, especially if you join a business like a builder's business and you're on a building site, which is what I did when I was 16. I went and worked on a building site all summer, and you get asked for all of those things that don't exist. Do you remember that? Like tartan paint.
Yeah. Tartan paint.
We actually got the kids for that one year.
Really? Fantastic. You know, my mind was going to like polka dot paint, you know.
That'd be good. I had to do an April Fool's thing on LinkedIn this year, and it was a new color that had come out, and I made up a color code and everything. I think I put the date backwards as the color code, and I called it like it was a tartan color.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, tartan paint. The other things were like a long wait.
Yes, that was one of my dad's favorites.
Yeah. Could you? I need you to go for a long wait. It's like they walk off into the distance and they're there forever. Might go and get them later on. Did you ever get asked for any of those things when you first joined the business? Was there any, like, have you ever joined a business, Stephen, and like someone's like tried to catch you out with like getting something or doing something that everybody else knows?
I just can't remember what it is, but I remember falling for one hook, line, and sink, and it was just like you just got absolutely ribbed then for the, you know, for probably the rest of the time you worked for that company, wasn't it? Yeah. But I just can't think what it was. It'll come back to me during the show.
Barry's got one. common military thing, right?
Yeah.
Send the new person out for a left-handed screwdriver.
Yeah.
Oh dear, all the long way again. Yeah, I love things like
Left-handed
that.
screwdriver.
Left-handed screwdriver. Honestly, Louise. So you do websites.
I do websites.
I wanted to hear from you exactly what it is you do. But I also want us to discuss today where people are going wrong with websites, because I think that would be really quite interesting. And maybe we can kind of relate it into the sector as well, because I have to say a lot of people's websites in the sector of ergonomics, etc., are quite salesy, and maybe they're just not honing down on the right things. So tell us a little bit more. What got you into doing websites in the first place?
Well, I used to have an online shop many years ago. I was selling little gothic jewelry and fantasy ornaments and clothing and everything like that. But it was a drop shipping thing. And the guy that was running it, he gave you a basic Zencart template, gave you the products, and you basically just put it on the thing and you just tried to sell your stuff. But there was a few, and everybody's website was looking the same. So that's how I sort of got into like the coding thing properly and the design and making it look different, trying to make it stand out and whatnot. And in the end, I realized that I liked doing that more than I did getting the orders in.
That's fair. That's fair comment. I mean, it's quite a thing getting into coding, isn't it? I mean, I think it scares a lot of people off. Like anything to do with coding. But did you take naturally like a duck to water to that, or
I think I did, yeah. I mean, when I was little, my dad was always a computer programmer, and we had a C64 in the house. And the company he worked for at the time, they used to do like an annual quiz every year. And my dad, being the ultimate nerd he was, made up this ultimate fantastic scoring system on the C64 that got put up on a big screen. And I think that's where it basically really started at the beginning. Was wow, that's amazing.
Oh, fantastic. I have to say, I was distracted there momentarily while you were speaking by your amazing keyboard, which is glowing at me.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey.
Yeah. Do you want to just show us your amazing keyboard? You could literally look at that. You could have a disco in your. You could have a disco while you work.
When I first got it and set it up, I did spend about 3 hours just staring at it because it was so pretty.
Is it me, or is the color? Is the color just sliding along? Is it like on a revolving sort of sequence?
Button somewhere. I can't remember which one it is because I never used it. But you can change sort of the pattern or make it flash or stay one color or things like that.
You could sort of get a bit sort of transfixed by that and just find yourself sort of staring at it, and then you suddenly realize an hour's gone by and all you've been doing is staring at changing keys on a keyboard.
The rainbow.
Do you know Stephen's company do keyboards? And after this, Stephen's going to be going back to his MD and saying, you know what we need to do? Those keyboards that we do, but with that.
Yes.
So just imagine.
Definitely.
The only problem being, though, Graham, that we promote health and productivity. My concern is this could massively impact productivity. People are just staring at colours, and it's like, hello, it's 10:15, and you haven't actually done anything yet.
Yeah.
But stare at a keyboard.
Let's get into the nitty gritty. And Barry's not on the phone, but he's on the comments, which is fantastic. So Barry's got his own podcast. For those people that don't know, he does a podcast all about human factors. I think human factors ergonomic websites are rubbish. Let's be blunt about it, Barry, because I was going to be, because it falls under the same thing as tradesperson's home is the worst for what they do. I.e., a plumber always has plumber's jobs to do, builder, etc. Ergonomist websites are the last done, my own included. A conversation then.
An admission of guilt.
But Barry, you need to be speaking to Louise straight after this. But do we find, Louise, that actually a little bit like LinkedIn land as well, right? Because we're broadcasting out onto LinkedIn now, that actually a lot of people's websites have no personality, and that's part of the big problem with them.
It is. That is a huge problem.
Yeah. So what is it in working with people on their websites? What is it that what's the journey process that you take them through to try and actually redress that balance?
I just try and emphasize that, there's a million other companies that do the exact same thing as you. And you've got to stand out. You've got to not be afraid to put a little bit of your own personality into your website. If you want to sort of, make it, you've got to sort of differentiate yourself from Joe Blogs next door sort of thing.
Yeah. So what are some of the ways that people can start to do that? Is it like, if you're getting a photo shoot, get the right photo shoot? I know I initially met you because you were doing something with Wendy, who takes amazing photos. But
Yeah, she's mine actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and her photos are different. They're not just your standard headshot. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's true. But how many people? Honestly, a lot of people.
Sitting there with a cup of coffee.
Oh my word! Yeah, that's the.
Yes, that one. Yeah, exactly.
That one. But it's true. How many people in sort of photo shots for a company just look so uncomfortable?
Yeah.
So uncomfortable. I'm not saying anything, Steve. But but it's true. Whereas I think Wendy tries to pull out something of the person's personality in that as well, which I think makes people feel more comfortable in terms of approaching people. But is it also about getting away from just putting stuff in there about what it is that you do, but also maybe in the same way with social media commentary, putting some stories in there that actually will resonate with people as well?
Oh God, yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm doing a website for a client at the moment, and Wendy has actually just done his photos. So I got an early sneak preview at them because I'm using them on the website, and they are not like typical Wendy style. They are not your normal. Look at me, I'm holding a cup of coffee. There is actually loads of personality in there as well. And there was one of them. He's standing there, but he's got his Nintendo Switch in his hand, for example, and it looks like he's raging at the game.
Yeah.
And that's going on the website on one of the pages. So that picture itself tells you a lot about the person.
Yeah. I think from our perspective, I mean, as a manufacturer, we produce huge amounts of content around the products that we make. So whether it's what we call product images, we've got ergo images where you've got images where you've got the product on its own, maybe with a white background. You've got images where the product's actually being used. You've got video content, etc. I think for us, what we want to see from our reseller partners is taking advantage of that. We've got tons and tons of content, and other manufacturers will do the same. I think the frustrating for me is the volume of content that's available that can bring a product or a solution to life. And then you go on and you see there's 2 pictures on there, and it's like, you've used 2 when I've got 15 or 20, and I understand you might not want to use them all, but it's also the selection. I always find it's the image selection that's the issue. And I look and go, you've chosen 2 or 3, but actually they wouldn't have been the 2 or 3 I'd have chosen because you've missed this or you've missed that. And I think that's one of the sort of things I think Barry's touched on, and I think we've touched on in the past, Graham, is there's lots of good content out there in the ergo world, but I don't think it then necessarily gets pulled through onto the websites, and it then really brings products and services to life. If you can see more imagery, you can see it in context, you can see it in situ. That's the thing that I think is the missing trick in the ergo world websites, Graham, for me.
Yeah. Do you think, Louise, people are too lazy when they build websites half the time? They literally hit someone like throws them a OneDrive or whatever with image banks, and they go, first 2 files, that will do. It's a picture. A picture's a picture. That's fine. They're not really thinking about, as I say, what's that picture telling the audience? What is it? Does it relate to anything? I mean, I suppose people might be thinking, especially if they're a part of their website is a catalog. I'm just building a catalog, and that's all that I need to do. But even that catalog's got to compete against somebody else's catalog.
Yeah.
at the end of the day. You know, I just don't know how much people are actually paying attention to the kind of creative process of that. And,
Yeah.
you know, really for me, let's talk about, actually, that's a good way of talking about it. Let's talk about what are some of the websites you must, as a website producer, you must look at certain websites and think that's a really good website. Are there examples of great websites that you've seen that you think?
Yeah, I think it was on the Oppo website earlier, a few months ago, and on one of the product pages, they weren't just showing the picture of the phone. It was, as you scroll down the page, the picture was like, it was kind of like it was interactive. It was moving, it was rotating. You could see sort of the sides and the back and everything like that. And I thought that was, that's a really clever way.
So as someone scrolls, what's there is changing all of the time,
Yeah.
etc.
But I think as well, Graham, there's a bigger piece in all of this. And if you take it beyond the website piece, you also think at the moment, in a world of online trading, one of the big costs that organizations have is dealing with people who return products where it's wrong. So if you sort of take this on and turn it into a commercial angle, how many times are companies dealing with products being returned because the imagery and the content they've given was incomplete or inaccurate? And therefore, are companies then dealing with products coming back? And having come from that background previously, I know how expensive it can be to deal with all of that side. So it makes you think, actually, there's not only are there benefits in actually promoting your business better and selling more, actually, if you've got your sort of financial controller's hat on, how can we keep the costs down? How can we reduce the number of returns? And that, I think, is something that maybe has a big impact. It is, think of the imagery and think of it from accuracy perspective, controlling what's coming back as well as it going out. It potentially is going to come the other way because of poor content and poor imagery.
Yep. I think Barry's made a great point here as well. It depends what the website is for, because there is a difference between a leaflet in the sky and something that's fully engaging with clients and is taking them through a journey. I agree with that. And actually, that's a great thing to think about. And do enough clients actually think about, Louise, before they even start the process with you, what it is that they actually need? Because some things, it might be that you don't need that on your website. What you need is to produce that as an interactive PDF or something, or a flip carousel book that stands alone that people can download. But you don't actually need that as website pages because it's just using up space, which isn't actually going to achieve anything.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. There's the website I'm working on right now. I'll just keep using that as an example. He offers a free PDF download to a book he wrote. And, like you say, things like that don't actually need their own page. You just need the link. And, they can just download it straight there. And, the less pages you've got to load on your website as well, the quicker it will load.
Yeah, no, exactly that. I actually think that too many websites are too complicated. And certainly I don't think that enough take people on that kind of that human journey. And I think it's really interesting in this sector where you're talking about human factors, where you're talking about something that is quite emotional in some respects and actually requires people to really buy into it as a process. And then it's just quite clinical, as a lot of the websites are just very clinical. It's like, here's a chair. And actually it creates a problem for the industry itself, because you'll get a lot of dealers will go, yeah, but a chair isn't just a chair. But on a website, they do just look the same, right? A flat image of something. Yeah. How can you tell the difference between something which is like, how can you really get over the difference of something that's maybe £1,000 and something that's £100? If it's an operator chair, the best way of getting that over is hearing stories about what that chair does for people, right? Not showing a high definition image of it and saying this chair is so much better than this one, you know, unless you want to pay someone to do the like the M&S type voiceover.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much more than this chair.
So testimonials, Graham, you're saying is a really big part, sort of testimonials, active references, that sort of thing. Do you think that's something that people should be homing in on more?
I think testimonials, but more than testimonials, because I think I see a lot of people doing testimonials on a website, but they are literally just like Barry from Scotland says, I think this is the best business in the world, right? But you know, who knows Barry, and who is this Barry, and what if Barry was being paid, etc. You know, and anyway, that's just a piece of text. All right. If you actually, if we go back to, there's two types of customer story that work really, really well on websites these days that we as people trust.
Okay.
One is the whole Trustpilot type of thing, where companies are brave enough to not get a testimony and stick it on their website, but ask people to come into their website and say exactly what they feel, good and bad. Right? And we as public trust that so much more, right? Because people will put bad stuff. They'll go, well, this chair isn't any good. You know, I bought this chair and the arms fall off. You know, and if a lot of people show that, then, you know, so that bit I think is important. But I think rather than just that testimony bit, what I would want to see is a story from maybe a video or a story from somebody that's gone through the whole journey and gone, I was suffering with this. I had these problems. I looked everywhere. I didn't really know where to go. And then I met these people. And this is the process that I went through. And having gone through this process, I was, you know, and I was dubious, etc. I've now got this. And actually, I struggled with certain things at first, but actually they helped. And now I'm comfortable. That whole journey, it's so much more powerful than just a few lines of text with, yeah, this is good. You know, because the trouble is, I think we've become kind of numb to certain types of content. I think we see certain kinds of content and go, yeah, but everybody does that. Everybody says that. It takes a little bit more effort to get a proper story from someone and with proper buy-in that actually shows something. But also, it's more it's more human. I just feel that there's more warmth. I'm more likely to stick around for 5 minutes on a website where I'm hearing some Barry's journey than I am where in a website where you know, it's just got a few words from Barry, which, you know, Barry could have been paid 10 quid for.
There's a great video, and I'm just sort of shamelessly plugging ourselves, but there's a great video reference or story, as it were, on our website. And Graham and I, we've touched on our software solution in the past, and I think I'm gonna say top of my head, I think it's Capgemini in the Netherlands, and they sort of take, you know, there's a great video that sort of does exactly what you've described there, talk someone through the journey, so people can then relate to it and understand how the customer got to where they got, how the solution works for them. So yeah, I'm sort of really pleased that that was the way you've gone, because we've got something on our website, and I know it's something we've discussed having even more of, is these sort of journey type videos, as opposed to, like you say, blank text that really hasn't got any personality or depth or potentially credibility. I think if someone's prepared to go on camera, you've got a lot more credibility than someone who's prepared to type a few words and ping it off on an email. There's a bit more thought, a bit more passion, a bit more, you know, overall sort of involvement if it comes across in that format.
Believability.
Yes, that's it.
I've actually noticed that on because I've been looking at garden sheds. Hopefully, going to get one next year, a garden office. And I've noticed a lot on a lot of those websites. They do the video testimonial thing, and it really does make a big difference because you can look at the images on the website on the screen, and you can sit there and work out the dimensions and things like that, but you can't actually picture properly.
Yeah.
What it could look like for you.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
So the video tester, I think, and I think they're going to be the way forward for a lot of companies.
Now, interestingly, Louise, I first came across you because you were doing an audio room, which is similar to this, but it's just the audio, so you don't get to see people's faces. Yeah, and I think that's a really good example, actually, that video room that you did that day, audio room you did that day is a really good example, right? Because I think that drew a lot of people to it because it wasn't you talking about building websites, right? It was you talking about what it is to struggle as a self-employed person working from home.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that is so relatable to so many self-employed people working from home, doing this mad thing where, you know, you literally work within the confines of four walls on your own all day long and go slightly mad. And it was lovely because it was kind of a shared safe space, nice, you know, instantly built a kind of nice community and allowed people to come in and feel connected in a way. And do you think that you know, actually some of that is what we need on people's websites as well? We need that kind of interactivity where we actually, you know, build opportunities to build out a community and actually find, you know, talk. It's not just necessarily talking about it's not just about talking about the product, but actually talking about other things that people can relate to other than just what it is that we sell, because that then brings people in and people then want to talk to you because there's that relatability there. Because otherwise, let's face it, you know, certain things that you buy, you may only need to buy them once, right?
Yeah.
If you build a connection with people on something that's always there, then they're going to keep coming back to that space because there's something there beyond the one-off purchase. And so therefore, you're going to continually have opportunity to speak to them.
Yeah, and people buy from people. And if you can make yourself a little bit more relatable, you know, they're going to end up you've been on the same wavelength. And you know, you're not just like a faceless corporate, whatever it is, screen that doesn't give a crap. You know, you're there, you're putting yourself out there, you're saying this, you're saying that, and like shit, they do have the same problems I do. They get it. Am I allowed to say shit? I don't know.
Well, you've said it twice now, so I wouldn't worry about it.
Oops.
You on that day that you did that, there was quite a lot of talk about kind of discomfort when working. And obviously that's something we address. How do you think people like Stephen's company and other people that deal with solutions that help people work in a more comfortable way, how do you think, or where do you think they should be talking about that in terms of spaces? Do you think they should be talking about that in some of those spaces like the one that you set up that day? Do you think you know, because clearly there was a captured audience that day of people that were like saying, you know, I work in this cramped little thing and it's, you know, it's a pain and there's not enough room to swing a cat, etc. You know, there's some great opportunities there to walk into those spaces. But what would you like to see, or what sort of dialogue would you like to see from people that actually have some of the answers into that kind of space?
I don't know. I'll say if you've got the answers, share them, tell us, because I can't speak for anybody else. I think me and Wendy covered this last week. You sit there and you do your thing, and it feels like you're all on your own, especially when you work from home. And I mean, my little office is just like basically a tiny corner of the living room. It's like 2 meters by 1.5 meters, if that. So I really don't have space to swing a baby toy stuffed cat, let alone a real one.
Well, although I saw the cat trying to get in behind you there and act as a lumber cushion. Yeah,
that was my dog. That was one of my dogs.
Oh, dog. Right, there we go.
But it is one of the things we've discussed, isn't it, Graham?
It's fine.
Yeah, we've sort of said this. There's lots of people out there, and I think this is where you're getting to, Graham. There's lots of people like Louise and sort of entrepreneurs and etc. out there. Lots of people with the questions. There's lots of people with the answers. But the problem is putting the two together, isn't it? It's that connect that's the biggest challenge. Whenever I went and did some product training with someone a couple of weeks ago who, as part of their range of products, they sell ours, but they're not experts in our products. And when you walk them through it, it was that light bulb moment. So they sort of knew they got that question, but they didn't know where to get the answer. But pushing it together, it all sort of made a lot of sense. So I think it's that sort of grey area, or whatever area we want to call it in the middle, is to how can we provide more answers to questions, and how can people who get more with the questions get more relevant answers?
Well, I think the problem is, and I've said this over and over again, but I'm going to say it with Louise here, and I'm going to try and get her take on this. I think part of the problem is, I'm going to ask you a question, Louise. Would you, if you saw it advertised, ergonomic solutions, etc., come to a showroom, talk to us about, your, working from home and ergonomic solutions, would you think, oh, I got to go to that as a day?
Yeah, I think I probably would.
Right.
Yeah, because I say, you sit here and you think you're all alone and nobody else is going through it, and it's only when you talk to somebody else. It was a random conversation between me and Wendy, and it was actually, I think, my husband that had the idea. Well, why don't you do a podcast type thing where you're talking about that, so other people can realize they're not alone and they're not the only ones? So yeah, I would definitely come along if there was something advertised. And
right, so Stephen and a group of other companies are doing that. They're going around the country doing that. Here's the rub. You wouldn't go to it because you wouldn't know that that's on.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't know it's on unless I invite you onto something like Wow Ergonomics, because now you know, right? So where does companies like Stevens need to go in order to get that message across? Do you think that somebody in those businesses, maybe not Stevens' business directly, but actually maybe some of the dealers, etc., need to make sure that they are looking out for things that people like you are putting on, spaces that are going on things like LinkedIn or whatever, where people are talking about not specifically health and well-being working from home, but just working from home, what it's like to be a freelancer, what it's like to be in that kind of space. Because then they can actually tell people, and by the way, we've got this going on and you'd all benefit from this.
Yeah. It is a case of sort of, if you build it, he will come, and the field of dreams thing, but that's not the case at all. You need to get yourself out there and put yourself in the middle of those communities, say like on LinkedIn, for example, and just keep shouting about it and sort of just injecting yourself here, there, and everywhere.
There you go. It's been a great conversation with you today, Louise. Thank you for coming in. Thanks for getting over your nerves. You see, you've done it.
I did it.
It was so easy. You can now go and shout about it and go and watch me. I did this. I was amazing. Thank you so much. I only
swore twice.
Yeah, that's a good achievement for me.
No, seriously, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to that. everybody, this has been a wonderful Louise. If you want to connect with her, find out more about websites or any of the audio rooms that she's doing on a regular basis on LinkedIn platform, please do connect with her on LinkedIn. But thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
And look, Barry says, great chat. Barry, Louise will be in touch about your website.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say. Well, if we make a beautiful thing happen there, that's wonderful. Louise, because you've come on, is there anything you are missing from your kind of ergonomic setup at the moment? I mean, we probably can't take you away from your wonderful, brightly coloured keyboard, and I wouldn't want to because it's fantastic.
No, too good.
But how about? Do you ever go out and visit clients on their premises? Do you ever?
Not normally. I normally do everything over Zoom or things like that. But
well, what you could do, Louise, is what we always say. Yeah, what we say to people is take a photo from where you're sitting of what your setup's like. Send that to me, and let's see if we can find something that will give you an improved setup. So almost a little pic from how you look at your setup. And I know we've just connected on LinkedIn. Send it over to me, and we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah, I will do.
It might be something like a slidey desk, or it might be, it might be something like that. You never know.
I need a TARDIS.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on, everybody. That was wonderful, Louise. We'll say goodbye now. Bye for now.
Thanks, Louise.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
There you go.
Brilliant.
Interesting conversation.
Really good.
I think we just need to keep challenging the sector with that.
Yeah.
Right. It's if you've taken away anything this morning, folks, it really is this. Are you actually telling stories on your website? Any of the dealers out there that are, wanting to help people, is your website literally just a catalogue of what you do? Because then it's just a catalogue against somebody else's catalogue. It's not actually, that's actually not telling anybody anything. No. Or is it actually telling a story of what it is you do as a business, right? Because in a way, Stephen, your website needs to be more of a catalogue.
Yes.
Right? Because you're the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you were selling direct from your website, you would be telling more of that story than you perhaps do at the moment. But it's, it's important though that the people that are actually meeting with clients at the coalface are doing that. And people need to understand that the real value of getting into those spaces as well. I mean, I think that was great that Louise could say that this morning as well, which is that, if she knew that there was something on over here that she could go to get more advice, she'd go to it. But it's, how does she know that thing exists?
And it's a challenge as well. It's one of those things that you almost, I know we've discussed it a few times, it sounds easier than it actually is, because there are still events put on, and we've done a number of events, and sometimes it is a case of getting people out as well. So I think there's a bit of responsibility on sort of both sides, really. Is that if something is put on, is getting people along. But as you say, I think it's making people aware what's out there, and for example, there's lots of really great dealers we've got spread throughout the country who not just do our product but other people's product. We've got some fantastic showrooms. So I think again is, how do they draw people out from their home office to come and visit? I was thinking of Louise there. Where's Louise based, Graham? I was trying to pick up the accent. I know she's someone you've worked with before, but
do you know what? She's still backstage, so I can quickly ask her. Hold on. Yeah. Here we go. Louise, where are you from?
Well, I'm from Leeds originally. I spent about 7 years in Cornwall, and I live in Norwich now, in Norfolk.
Oh.
Well, that's why you can't place the accent, because it's a bit of a Heinz 57 one.
It was a little bit like, I can't quite place this at all, to be honest.
That's right, yeah. That's all over the shop in England.
Yeah.
There you go. So Norfolk, I mean, Norfolk is in the middle of nowhere.
But we've got our friends over there. Yeah, but we've got our friends Mark Rigby and the guys at online Ergonomics are over in sort of Beccles, so they're perfect location. So again, if you wanted to go out and see someone, they'd be more than happy for you to go in and visit them and get some good advice off them.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get them to be in touch.
Yeah,
that would be good. You can go and do a day out and turn that into a whole LinkedIn post. It would be fantastic, or they can, and you know, and it would be a marvelous thing. Once again, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Cheers. I think it's brilliant. See, look at that. I can bring people in. I can take people out. It's just wonderful. In, out, shake it all about. Kind of reminds me of desk exercise, which you know, after the other week, I'm going to tell you this now. After the other week, I've done it religiously every day.
Have you?
Yeah, I've had.
Can we get another clip of that on today, or not? I mean, it still brings a tear to the eye. So
what? Lorraine Bowen's? Yeah, I probably can. If you give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's worth the wait, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. I mean, so for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about here, the other week I interviewed Lorraine Bowen, who's the crumble lady.
The crumble lady, that's it.
And in the middle of that, she told me that she'd written this song called Desk Exercise. And she sent me, here we are, yeah, beautiful. She sent me evidence of this, where she'd done this in some offices. I think it was in the middle of London as well. So let's see if I can find you a couple of seconds. In fact, what I'm going to do, because we started it from the start last time, I'm gonna start it midway through, so you get a little bit more of the tang of this. All right.
I find it's like one of those jokes that you know the punchline to, but you still want to hear the joke because it's really funny. It's like, I know what's going to happen here, but it is just brilliant.
Here we go. So this is it. Desk exercise with Lorraine Bowen.
It's best. Flick your chair away and let's get going. Capital desk exercise. Stretch your arms up. Stretch your arms to the left. Ooh. Stretch your arms to the right. Ooh. And start swinging. Left, right, left, right, left. Desk exercise. Let's flick. Flick your hands in the air. Flick. Flick your hands like you just don't care.
Now, what I will say is, whenever, I can see Louise laughing in the background. Whenever you get anybody doing anything like that, there's always one person, isn't there? Always one person that goes in the opposite direction. You know, so everybody else is going,
and he's going, they're going,
and it's the opposite. Yeah, always one.
I like the shot from outside that you could see where it was just like someone who's walking down the street just glances up and you just see these people going crazy in the office. So
flick your wrist, and like people outside are going, oh, it's a bad day there.
Yeah.
What a bad day they're having in that office this morning. There we go. Yeah, no, fantastic. It's quite catchy. You know, well, she's quite clever, really, because she writes these catchy little ditties, right? Which kind of get like earworm that get ingrained, etc. Do you know, it kind of reminds me of when I first went to university. I went up to university in Sunderland, and do you know who the main big employer was at the time up in Sunderland? Or
so
just on the outskirts?
Are we talking pre-Nissan?
No, you're talking the beginnings of
Okay.
Yeah, Nissan. Yeah. I kind of felt like Nissan had followed me everywhere, because Nissan's main sort of technological base was at Cranfield, which was actually where I went to middle school.
Yeah.
Based near Cranfield University. And then I go millions of miles up north, and there's this massive, great Nissan plant.
Washington.
Absolutely. And I used to drive past that sometimes, and you drive past at the right time of day, you get all of the workers from Nissan doing star jumps and things outside.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's just been an announcement today where they're investing £2 billion in that plant. So they're going to look to build, I think, 2 or 3 of the electric Nissan vehicles. So yeah, like you're saying, it started when you went to university, and it's still being invested in now. I think there's something like 6,000 people work there, but you multiply that out through the supply chain. That's some serious numbers of people who are sort of dependent on that location.
Now, let's finish today on this, and actually maybe for another week we can try and get someone who's a kind of industry expert on manufacturing in the UK to come and talk to us, because I think that would be really good, because I am becoming sort of very aware that there is going to be a real big opportunity for people in the ergonomics community in the UK, because a lot of manufacturing is being brought back into the UK. Started with Brexit, cost of things going up, cost of transportation, cost of import, etc. But there's a lot of companies now invested where UK is a dominant market for them, and now investing more in the UK. We have got this opportunity happening in Chard, where I'm from. Yeah. So there used to be one of the biggest employers in Chard was an American company called Oscar Mayer. Do you ever hear of them?
Oh, yes, but I know the name, but I couldn't tell you what they particularly specialised in.
They specialised in doing microwave meals, basically, for mainly for one of the main supermarkets.
Right.
Who shall remain nameless. But unfortunately, that factory closed down several years ago. Massive, job cuts within Chard. However, that piece of land has now been purchased, and it's a massive piece of land. Right? I mean, it's going to take a few years to actually develop it, but that and another piece of land from another business that was shrinking within Chard, industrial land, that's been purchased as well. And do you know who's taken it all over?
No, go on, tell us.
Pneumatic International Limited.
Okay.
Who are the manufacturers of the Henry Hoover and other products.
Yeah.
Okay. So apparently, from an inside source, and if I'm wrong about this, please don't shoot the messenger.
No.
This is apparently, but apparently they currently manufacture a lot of their handheld vacuum cleaners in a foreign country, but they are going to build a purpose-built factory in Chard and bring that manufacturing back to the UK.
Oh, wow, okay, excellent. That's good news.
Which is fantastic. But it does mean, I think, as we kind of seeing this across the country, and we're actually getting factories opening back up again, this is actually going to be a really big opportunity within the sector, because clearly ergonomics isn't just about people sitting at desks. It's also about how people work safely within any kind of process, work process. And so I can see a lot of our ergonomists over here becoming quite busy, to be honest, which is great news. But it would be interesting to take it slightly off the sort of the desk work thing for 1 week, I think, and actually perhaps talk about the rise of the sort of rise again of British manufacturing and what that might mean for ergonomics in the UK. Maybe even get someone like Barry back to talk about that, because that would be excellent, quite an interesting conversation.
Definitely.
Fantastic. I moved the light today to give me more a sort of ambient glow, but it means I keep getting shadow if I go in the wrong place.
Yes.
So I do apologise about that. And I've also got to say today, just to kind of finish on, that I don't know whether they're still there in the background for Stephen, but Prime, Stephen, you still got the Prime bottles there?
Still on the shelf. Can't give it away now, can they?
Well, I was going to say, I've seen in this current week, reduced price Prime yet again at one of the discount supermarket thingies. So it'd be interesting to see where Prime goes.
Yeah, I was going to say schoolboy error by my son, but actually he's a schoolboy, so I suppose it's a bog standard error for him.
It's not an error. It's just there we go. If you're buying stuff for Black Friday, folks, do think to have a look out for ergonomic solutions that might actually benefit you health-wise long term. I don't know whether are any of the dealers that you know doing Black Friday deals.
Haven't seen anything, but they could well be. They could well be.
Yeah. Well, if anyone finds a back at Elkhuysen Black Friday deal online anywhere, do let us know.
Yeah,
and
buy lots of them.
Yeah, buy
as many as you can.
Buy all of them.
Yeah.
There you go. Until next week, thank you to this week's guest, Louise.
Yeah,
for
thanks,
coming
Louise.
on and being such a super guest. Got a guest for next week as well, who shall remain a secret until they arrive, just in case they drop out at the last minute. Stay safe, work sensibly out there, and we'll see you all again next week. You can catch up on previous episodes of this at the wonderful wowergonomics.com. 74,500 of you. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Wow.
74,500 of you have visited the site. I don't know what you were trying to find, but you found that site, and we thank you for that. And you can also listen to this if you want to on Spotify, which means that you can do it whilst driving around the great car park that is the M25. Until next week, bye for now.
See you next week.